Hello class, my name is Victor Rebelard and today I will be discussing the significance of the samurai in Japanese literature. Specifically, the samurai were depicted in the Japanese Kojiki. The Kojiki is Japan's oldest book and is full of poems and mythology. In the Kojiki, there are stories of gods and goddesses, particularly the god of warrior, otherwise known as Hachiman. Other samurai fighters often worship this deity by creating stirrups that are particularly used on horses. Other times these warriors would ask him for guidance on their military conquests. The Kojiki is particularly important because it set the tone for the rest of Japanese literature. Most of these stories were displayed high regard to these fierce fighters. I will also be discussing why the samurai were so respected. The samurai were known as the highest and most respected citizens of the land, and because of this, they followed the code of Bushido. The Bushido was a code of ethics that they were to follow, and it created a model for its commoner citizens to follow as well as to look up to. The Bushido reflected Japan's main core principles such as honor, loyalty, and sincerity. This, along with their own skills as warriors, allowed them to be feared as well as respected. Next, I will be discussing what this revealed about Japanese culture. Well, for starters, the way of the warrior, or Bushido, truly reflected what Japan held dearest. Some of these things even included honor till death. Also, this reveals about Japan's early countryship. They were feeble at the time, and these warriors defended them and their many other factions from rival factions. This respect still lives on to the present day and is shown through pop culture as well as cinema. The first literary period that I will be discussing is the Kamakura period. The Kamakura period is particularly interesting because it is this time period that was devoted to the way of the warrior. It was a time filled with conflict and war, and thus created many militaristic stories. During this time, the country was run by the Kamakura shogunate, which was a form of dictatorship in which rulers were mostly a part of the Minamoto clan. It was during this time the famed story, The Tale of Hiki, was written, which was one of Japan's first national pieces of literature. It was in this time period that the samurai were gaining high status in the caste system in which that government had perpetuated. The next and final literary period that I will be discussing is the samurai in the Edo period. The Edo period is characterized by peace, stability, and growth under the directive of the new shogunate. It was during this time that we saw the samurai start to fade, not from existence, but from literature. People did not write about the samurai, and some of the samurai even lost their powers, such as the right to their guardians as well as land ownership. Instead, the people of Japan weren't focused on wartime stories. Rather, this period was one where the arts saw much growth. Acts of puppetry and stories became more popular during this period. In conclusion, the samurai were something special for Japan. In fact, they were a main staple of their core values as well as a main staple of their culture. Oftentimes, we see the samurai still depicted in today. Many pop culture items as well as movies still depict the samurai in present day. Thank you for watching. I truly hope you enjoyed my presentation.